President Marie Antoinette had a debaucherous Halloween party at his resort, Mar-a-Lago. And listen, I don't care about scantily clad women twerking because I'm not a Bible thumping MAGA Christian prude. I don't freebase Fox News. So I don't care if somebody's wearing a thong, doing a little twerk. Doesn't bother me in the least bit. But I remember the meltdowns from Super Bowl appearances. I remember when Megan Thee Stallion campaigned with Kamala Harris. Fox News was on life support, hyperventilating at the debauchery. So it might come as a surprise to you that Kanks, which of course we all know he's a weird perv, but the crowd surrounding him, the moral majority, the Christian values voters,
purity culture.
Here's what they were watching pumps at Mar-a-Lago while taking away benefits from starving children and babies. Put this up. Here we have a stripper in a thong in a martini glass twerking. Of course, you guys, I don't give a shit. I mean, to me, whatever. If that's what you want to have at your party and you want it to be edgy, and it was a Great Gatsby party, which the irony in that is a whole nother episode entirely. But it's just amazing to me how brazen we are going to call out everything on the left, and then we're going to do it on the right, and the absolute lack of feeling any shame or, oh, I thought maybe we weren't supposed to be into that.
Now, here's the thing. They're all into it on the down low. And then Donald Trump gives them permission. We're going to have it at Mar-a-Lago. So they're like all in. But the shit they're doing behind closed doors while they're leading with what great Christians they are and the party of family values, the shit that's going on behind the scenes would probably make you and I hairs curl. And we're pretty much shock-proof at this point.
Yes, and it reminds me of Handmaid's Tale, where like Commander Waterford is going to the brothel and it's girls like this dancing everywhere. That everybody has a desire, a sexual desire. It's only one political party that wants to be involved in everybody else's sex life. Okay, here's more footage from Kanks's Halloween, Marie Antoinette, Great Gatsby celebration. Again, while the MAGA Christians are celebrating taking away food from suffering children and babies and zip tying kids and not welcoming the neighbor and being as un-Christ-like as imaginable. Play the clip. Okay, now we have the twerkers. It's the Great Gatsby twerkers, for those of you that are listening. Listen to the Mar-a-Lago crowd. Okay, they're Beyonce, of course, which you all know.
Dad likes Beyonce all the time.
Hear him dancing? Okay, so Beyonce's the one, that's good. Beyonce's the one, you guys, that when she put out a country and Western album, they lost their minds because in their world, a Black woman can't sing country. That is exclusively for white people. And so, of course, here they are dancing to Beyonce, twerking, and then all the MAGA Christians are sitting there cheering on because at the end of the day, everybody likes a scantily clad twerk. There are just some people on the right who can't admit it and have all of this sexual shame and all of this bullshit purity culture stuff in them. And then now Kanks has given them a permission slip to enjoy it, while at the same time demeaning anybody on the left that were to enjoy it. I want to remind you, these are the people that are having a meltdown about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. I completely forgot about Cowboy Carter, how it was just meltdown. But Trump goes on and on on his live social about Beyonce. So it surprises me zero that he's a Beyonce fan and that every MAGA person knows all the fucking words to Beyonce. And I'm just going to say this, and I know I've said it and I've said it and I've said it. The Trump administration has no respect for women. They think women need to be scantily clad and twerking in their face to have value. And I applaud the dancers. I'm not mad about that, but you look there and you see how they project women. And it is a stereotype from way before women could vote. It's just the misogyny on steroids that just irritates me.
It is, but in fairness, you have musicians like Beyonce that are into women empowerment, that have women on stage doing the same thing. I think the hypocrisy in this is what is more disturbing. And I didn't see any guys, which is interesting considering the Grindr crashes. And I would imagine
Grindr would crash in Palm Beach.
I imagine Grindr is at peak capacity near Mar-a-Lago when the president and his entourage are there. Okay, moving along. So you guys know that I have long felt like Stephen Miller and a lot of these evil Silicon Valley oligarchs are doing real damage to the country. And in order to do that, they give the very small attention span, dementia-ridden senior citizen projects that can keep him occupied and make him feel like he's having an impact. And one of them that he recently took on is the remodeling of the Lincoln bathroom. Put this up. So on Lie Social, he puts, I renovated the Lincoln bathroom in the White House. It was renovated in the 1940s in an Art Deco green tile style, which was totally inappropriate for the Lincoln era. I did it in black and white polished statuary marble. This was very appropriate for the time of Abraham Lincoln, and in fact, could be the marble that was originally there. And here's where it gets psychotic. Caroline Levitt retweets this, and she says, when I first learned a toilet like that existed inside the White House, I was horrified. President Trump is making the people's house more elegant and beautiful for generations of Americans to come. Okay, first and foremost, it's a real window into Caroline Levitt, the cross-wearing, unapologetic, I'm going to pray before I go out and lie, MAGA Christian, which means she is a MAGA hypocrite of the highest order. She is a walking, talking, breathing embodiment of why people dislike Christians. Absolutely. Nothing about her is Christ-like at all. She's horrified because of a toilet from the 1940s, but isn't horrified when the man she works for zip ties kids, separates families, and arrests people with zero criminal record and sends them off to God knows where. This is an absolute example of why people cannot stand MAGA Christians. And they have finally been exposed for the evil, diabolical hypocrites that they are. There are those of you out there that have a Christian faith that is personal to you and it's something spiritual and beautiful. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about these Christian grandstanders that will not shut the fuck up about how religious they are. And they wear their Christian crosses. And these people are ubiquitous in the Trump regime. They are ubiquitous in the propaganda machine. And they are the biggest fucking hypocrites in a walking, talking, breathing advertisement against Christianity. Completely against. Because Caroline Levitt is more wound up about a toilet than she is about egregious human rights violations against the most vulnerable people on the planet. She wouldn't know empathy if it came up through Donald Trump's face, out of his mouth, and slapped her with it. She's incapable of feeling it, and everybody surrounding her is the same.
Yeah, they're all the same. They don't have empathy. They're able to dehumanize people. And I believe in large part they are able to do that because of their faith. Their faith tells them you're better than other people. You get to stand in judgment of other people because their problems cannot apply to you, and you are superior in every way. She is an abomination. Trump I just want to know, do you think Trump got his like chisel out to get the old tile up and did it the way he says it, like he was in there with a tool belt on? We know this fucker can't do shit, but I built I remodeled it. Bullshit. You hired somebody to do it. I want to take a minute to thank our sponsor, Jones Road Beauty. And I love Jones Road Beauty because I have a tendency to cake makeup on. And the makeup from Jones Road, the Miracle Balm, it gives effective, lightweight coverage. And it really gives you like this effortless glow. And it's quick. It doesn't take a long time to apply. Starting November 6th, Jones Road is launching their most giftable and exclusive holiday collection yet. We all know holiday shopping is about to move into high gear. So this holiday season, simplify your routine with makeup that's clean, strategic, and multifunctional. And don't miss out on their limited edition holiday sets. They won't be here for long, and once they're gone, they're gone. Also, as a treat for our listeners, you'll get a free cool gloss on your first purchase when you use code IHIP at checkout. Just head to jonesroadbeauty.com, use code IHIP at checkout. After you purchase, they will ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you.
Isn't that the same for all these billionaires, for all of these oligarchs? They act like they're the ones who do all this stuff. Meanwhile, you have actual laborers, a lot of them immigrant, because fat ass Americans don't want to do manual labor. Isn't that the same with Apple and all of their record sales? Isn't it laborers that make all of that equipment? Isn't it the same with Amazon? It's not like Jeff Bezos's ass and Lauren Sanchez's ass are out there delivering all this shit or boxing stuff up. No, it's always the laborers. So that is just such a classic move from a very wealthy person that sits behind a desk and paper clips and staples while people actually do physical labor. And then they're demeaned because they haven't ever built anything and they haven't ever made anything and they're not worthy of earning a livable wage and they're not worthy of having health care. Isn't that just the way wealth trickles down?
Yeah.
We're going to exploit labor as much as we can. And then we're going to take a victory lap, whether it's the president or any of these other piece of shit billionaire oligarchs that act like they actually did it. And they don't. They don't do any physical labor at all. And in Kinks's case, it might actually help him if he were to do a little bit more physical labor. All right, well, moving along. He's having another meltdown over Seth Meyers now. You know, comedians really get at the heart of the strong men. And our friend Ruth Ben-Ghiat, who is an expert on this, she says that authoritarians often attack comedians first because they have to project this strength and it has to be this type of toxic masculinity that everybody bends the knee for. Well, comedians go at that and they offer humor and comedy at this. And so that's a problem for the strong man because they can't be laughed at. They can't be ridiculed. That really affects their narcissism. And so oftentimes comedians are one of the first people under assault in authoritarian takeovers. And we've already seen them go after Stephen Colbert and the backfire with ABC with Jimmy Kimmel, and now Seth Meyers. And this is really fucked up, Pumps. And then Senator Murphy weighs in on this, but pop this up. Lie Social, he says, Seth Meyers of NBC may be the least talented person to perform live in the history of television. In fact, he may be the worst to perform live or otherwise. I watched his show the other night for the first time in years. In it, he talked endlessly about electric catapults on aircraft carriers, which I complain about as not being as good as much less expensive steam catapults. On and on he went, a truly deranged lunatic. Why does NBC waste its time and money on a guy like this? No talent, no ratings. And here's where it gets a little fucking dangerous. 100% anti-Trump which is probably illegal. To which Senator Chris Murphy, who for the permanent record should be the leader of the Senate and not Chuck Schumer, tweets and says, you need to understand that he actually believes it is illegal to criticize him. Why? Because Trump believes he, not the people, decide the law. This is why we are in the middle of, not on the verge of, a totalitarian takeover. Pumps.
Well, he's exactly spot on. And here's the thing. Just one aside. Have you ever heard a president in your lifetime talking about how much TV they watch all the time? He's always posting about how much TV. He saw the guy lying on whatever with the Nora O'Donnell. It's just constant TV watching, but that's not the point. The point is, one of the things that makes America special is because of the First Amendment, you have a right to criticize your government. And under normal times, criticizing your government could take the other side, could look at your criticism, take the opportunity, and maybe get a new perspective. But Donald Trump, because he is the biggest, most insecure, teeny weeny little titty baby with little hands and absolutely probably the smallest nubbin ever to be on TV. He cannot take criticism because he's such a titty baby. And what is so fascinating to me about it, he doesn't even try to hide how insecure and impotent he is. He gets on live social and tells everybody in all caps, I'm a big fat titty baby and you don't have the right to free speech. It's amazing.
I also think it's of note that Seth Meyers was paraphrasing and talking about the insanity of somebody talking about steam and catapults and just the word salad dimension nature of it all. And even Kanks, because the 6-minute clip of this is a lot of replaying Kanks talking about it, even Kanks can't stomach listening to himself. And that's what is importantly of note. And that shows you how much it got under his skin, because in this takedown, Myers used a lot of clips of Kanks, and somehow it ended up on his, algorithm. And he watched it. And then the meltdown here is that not only am I offended by comedians, but their opinion of not supporting me is illegal. And this brings me to a reminder to everybody here. He started off his 60 Minutes interview by saying, I am not a Nazi. Okay. He clearly is a Nazi. All right. That's all we have. Buy our book, Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches. It's a great way to support Pumps and me and to support our podcast. Subscribe to this channel, comment to help the algorithm, and we'll be back later with more news.